All right, so we'll get started in here with Collector's Circle 15th anniversary, and Adam's going to tell us about it.
All right, so yeah, the Collector's Circle. How many of you know how the event works or what the program is all about? More or less. So Collector's Circle at one point was an invitation that was sent to anyone in the Rungus Society, and if you wanted to come to the special dinner, you would make a contribution of a specified amount. You'd get to come to dinner, we would pool all the money, and then during the course of that evening, you would vote on pieces for the permanent collection. All those pieces would have been selected beforehand, approved by the collections committee, and all that stuff. So the museum is always interested in every single piece that's in Collector's Circle. So no matter what we end up with, we're happy. 2 years ago, that system of being a Rungus member and then being able to come to Collector's Circle changed. So now you can just join the Collector's Circle membership level, and then a portion of your dues go into this kitty that then we get to spend on artwork. And that's been quite a successful way to ramp it up a little bit. So that's been really nice in the last couple of years. Leslie Bowman, if any of you remember her, she started this in 1998 after coming from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, where they have a similar program. It was an annual event for many years. Then after 2008, it switched to every other year format. Sometimes we would have a lecture on the off year, the non-buying year. And now it looks like we're back to a buying year every single year. So last year we had a really successful event where we purchased the Leo Osborne Imagination that's out in the lobby. We purchased a large Joseph Wolfe painting that's in the Darwin exhibit. This Barry sculpture over here, and one of the Lost Bird sculptures out in front. So that was great for us. We also got some additional works that night. Sometimes people say, well, I really think that we need this, and so they just sponsor it during the course of the evening, which is also nice. What you see in this room are highlights, 1 or 2 from each year that we've purchased art. And you can see it represents the diversity of the collection, both in terms of time period, medium, style, etc. So you've got things from Andy Warhol Endangered Species portfolio, to Jane Rosen glass work, to an early oil painting by Titian Ramsay Peale, classic French sculpture like the Barry sculpture back there on that side. And then what the education department helped us with is to create labels to show just how many pieces from Collector's Circle are out in the galleries. So if you look around, while you're walking around, you'll see labels with our logo on it, Collector's Circle logo, right there, all over the museum, really. So that just shows visitors and members of Collector's Circle how important these additions are. These aren't like little things that end up being in back. They're pieces of art that we really use and appreciate. So we've also got a video over there that scrolls through every single purchase that Collector's Circle has made, and then there is a key to that video in the on the table right here. Do you guys want to?
How many members are in the Collector's Circle?
So let's see. It usually averages about 50 or 60.
People?
People. And then, yeah, 50 or 60.
Could you talk a little bit about how the collections committee works to prepare for the event and vet the different pieces?
So yeah, starting in about March, April, May, Bronwyn and I, or whomever else, starts looking around on the marketplace for pieces that might be available. You have to find some work of art that's in a dealer's inventory that they're willing to send out to you on approval to be in this event. So we start putting together a slate of possibilities, and then we present them to the members of the collections committee. We usually have 2 meetings in the summer, and so by our June-July meeting, we've really narrowed it down and focused in on the 10 or so pieces that we want to offer. The event is held each year in August. So yeah, by July we really have to be pretty sure of what we want. When we present objects just in general to the collections committee, there's a whole kind of checklist of things that we look for in terms of how does it relate to the collection, how is it going to be useful to us, is it of exhibitable quality, can it be brought up to exhibitable quality, those kind of things that go into all of our decisions.
Do you require that it be pieces that can actually come here to be seen physically, or not necessarily?
Yes. It's way better if they're able to be seen here physically. I'm not sure that we've ever done one that hasn't been here. The Lost Bird last summer was an exception. We had a funny cutout of it, and I think it suffered in the voting because the object wasn't physically in the room, even though we ended up getting it at that.
Is there a chance we might get more Lost Bird?
So that night, one Lost Bird was purchased and then another one was donated. And so we're working to purchase another one probably. And then I want to offer another one in Collector's Circle in 2014. And then hopefully we'll just be able to buy all of them within about a year and a half. And then not have to have them be removed. Because now it'd just be silly, to leave us with 2 or 3. And then have him and he doesn't want them to leave. We all want them to stay. So that's a goal of ours.
If you're curious about some of the interpretive components, so as Adam already mentioned, we have labels throughout the galleries that you can use as even a treasure hunt activity. That's what I had in mind, was to send people on a treasure hunt looking for objects throughout the galleries with that label. With, of course, with an adult audience, the purpose of helping them understand the power of this collecting device. For a younger audience, just fun, go look and find these objects. Also, to try and mimic this experience of having your own preferences actually end up in the collection, we came up with this activity, which is very much about the process, right? We're not taking pictures, we're not sharing, we're not telling anybody, oh, here's one, because there's nothing to win. It's the process of voting with a wooden nickel in a tube for one of these 5 objects. So it's just you get to choose something that you really like, and that's kind of at least a little bit of parallel to the way the event in the beginning works.
And it's been interesting to me watching this that you don't have one that's a clear winner. They kind of tend to rise equally, with, I've noticed, with these 2 often being a little bit ahead, which are very different pieces. The Schmiel, Art Imitates Art, this one over here, and the Peale. That last time I emptied it, the Peale was ahead, which surprised me a little bit. Yeah. Another time when I emptied it, well, this one always does quite well, actually. If I had to say which one is consistently ahead, it's usually that one.
The first time I voted, it was the Rosen that was way
Rosen was really high.
It was way high in the Schmiel.
Which is kind of nice to know that people like them. Generally, people like them.
This Rosen, is it attached, or it looks so fragile?
It is super fragile.
Like my arm movements, the air current.
It is very fragile. It's fairly secured on there, but it's not something that you would want to.
You don't want kids shaking it or touching it.
Well, it's
not just balance.
Right. There's a pin that goes into the bird and into the stone, and then there may even be a pin between that stone and the taller stone. So it's secured, but it's not unbreakable by any means.
So, and then we also asked Rachel to come on behalf of development, because development doesn't get to talk to us too often, and we thought this might be a good opportunity to learn a little bit about their perspective. maybe about why you feel like it's important for members, or what it does for development and members.
So Adam gave an excellent overview of Collector's Circle, but from a more money side of it, we have our Rungia Society, which is historically kind of been our highest level of membership at $3,000 a year. And we've since changed around our membership levels a little bit, and Collector's Circle has always been something that we've invited all of our Rungiest members to participate in, but it's a $5,000 additional contribution that goes strictly to art acquisition. So they are Rungia Society members, and then to be a part of the Collector's Circle, that additional $5,000 is put in a reserve that can only be used towards art that is purchased at the night of the event. And so now we've kind of turned Collector's Circle into an actual membership level, if you will, at $8,000 a year. And it is members who are really passionate about their work that is in the museum, really passionate about what we acquire, and love to have a role in selecting the artwork that'll kind of be here for the long term. And so it's a lot of fun to kind of watch this pot of money grow right before the event. We let Adam know, all right, here's how much we're going to have to spend this year. It's not quite enough to buy every piece of artwork that we want to acquire. So that's part of the fun of the event, with the whole voting process, to see which pieces are most popular. And for this year, for example, one of the artworks was not purchased, but we acquired kind of 2 additional artworks that were purely donations of anonymous donors that said, look, I really want to see us get that, a second lost bird, and I really want to see us get, what was the other artwork? The bear.
Little bear and cub.
We had a little bear and cub sculpture that was very, very sweet, and somebody, was passionate about that enough to just say, I want to give this as a gift kind of through this event, because I want to make sure it exists in the museum for the long term. So that's sort of how the money works, and how we, some folks will say, look, I'm willing, during the course of the dinner, there's a lot of kind of camaraderie and a lot of fun, and somebody might say, I want that particular artwork enough to, give an additional, $1,000 or whatever it might be to help make it possible for the museum to acquire it. And it makes for a really fun evening, and, good to see everyone kind of get riled up and share their excitement for different works of art. We'll have people sort of walk around from table to table saying, look, here's why you should really vote for this particular piece. And there's a lot of advocacy for the various artworks that goes on. Anything else that I'm skipping there?
No.
So there's that.
So Rachel, are there some Collector's Circle members who are not Rungiest members, or is it always both?
But
it doesn't have to
as
be,
far as I know, it's
right?
always been both. That, it's the Rungiest member, a selection of the Rungiest members that choose to participate in Collector's Circle.
But now Collector's Circle is just a membership level, and so you get all
Which
the
includes
benefits
all the benefits
of the Rungus Society,
Rungiest.
plus you get to come to
Do you all have any questions about Collector's Circle, the event, or this exhibit,
or any
the
specific
process?
works of art.
Yeah.
How many in all do we have now from Collector's Circle for 15 years?
90? It's about 90. I don't think I put it in there. I think it's on one of the labels.
That
Yeah.
sounds right. You did put it on one of the labels.
Yeah. It's 88 or 90 works of art in total.
Is that the elephants weaving through the wall?
88.
88, okay.
Well, and I think, wasn't Wounded Comrade, it was acquired in Collector's Circle, and Wounded Comrade is the sculpture that the volunteers selected and the curatorial department so graciously let us put a label on to be there in honor of our deceased volunteers. So that's a fun connection.
The amazing thing is they're all so different. I mean, they're really nothing exactly alike. I think that's wonderful.
This is evidence.
Yes, yes.
Again, it's a good way to look at the diverse sort of collection, how diverse the collection is,
It really is.
different
I
from
hadn't
what we
seen
have.
that one since it was first, you know.
It's so funny.
It's there. I remember at the time saying, really? Somebody really liked that. And it grows on you. Oh, I love that.
And it just looks like that seed pod from the Seychelles.
Right.
That's the first thing I thought when I saw this. It's like, holy
Right.
tomato.
That'll be interesting. Yeah.
Because I couldn't figure out what that was. I'm like, "Ah, what is that related to this?
This inspired a bunch of Collector Circle members to act like vultures during the evening. Vote for it? To vote for it. So,
Adam, will you maybe talk about these
Sure,
two
yeah.
pieces? And
this piece was bought by Collector Circle first, the bronze, in 2001. And then you guys know that you can look on the numbers and that tells you what year it is. And then this was 2008. I think the same dealer sent both of them to us. This is a traditional casting from a foundry. But then this plaster is also sort of made in the, was probably made in the same mold, but was made by the artist specifically to give to a friend of hers. And she toned it by hand, and so this, you might say, in terms of bronze work, has more of the artist's hand in it than the bronze does. And the dealers definitely wanted it to go into a museum, so that, because it's very fragile. And they just wanted that level of care, so they sent it to us first, and it was a really exciting confluence of events. Yeah, so enjoy, and I hope you'll have fun looking around. Like, everywhere you look, there's another Collector Circle piece. And we extended this out into the Pathways Gallery a little bit, just because we didn't want to jam it all in here. So there's 3 pieces out there immediately. Then there's 2 in the Conservation Gallery, at least 1 in Darwin. There's probably 3 in JKM. 1 in the lobby. A couple outside now, which don't have labels, but...
so that could be a fun way, depending on how tours are going, different ways to engage the group, or even give people an opportunity to go off on their own a little bit and then come back together and talk about what they found. So, yeah. Great. Well,